Tarot Oracle. Today we're talking about Aries, and Aries, we already know, by the way, Kingdom Within Tarot, Kingdom Within, link in the description, and Standard Rider-Waite. Aries is noted by the Ram. This is March 20th through April 19th, this Aries star sign. And the traits of Aries are very individual, very out there, needs to be competitive, loves challenges, kind of hard to hold their attention, but they're very dominant as per the Ram, very dominant, very forceful, very go ahead and get it done. They like to lead. They so much don't like to be led most times, but they do like to lead, and they usually think they're always right, which is definitely one of the traits from Aries. So Aries covers a variety of cards. The first one I want to discuss would be the Two of Wands, and the Two of Wands talks about aggressive conquest. So that is Mars inside Aries. So we now know that Aries is very independent, very forceful, very dominant, as well as per the Ram symbol. But now we're introducing the planet Mars into that. Now Mars is a warring planet. Mars is very aggressive. Mars is very domineering. Mars pretty much takes over. It's a fire. We have fire within fire, and this combination is really going for the ultimate goal, which is literally conquest or domination. That's why we have the guy holding the globe, just like Pinky and the Brain. We have a domineering, let's take over the world, and he's holding the staff and he's holding the globe, looking out into a domain that he's either conquered or he is about to conquer. This is about using that war, about using that domineering, about using that very masculine, move forward, get it done trait within the sign of Aries, which is already a dominant. So we have this double down of conquest or aggression or pushing forward or getting things done, getting things shoved forward and getting things dominated. And that you see here by the Two of Wands. Two of Wands very clearly represents that. He's looking out into either what he's already conquered or what he's about to conquer. Easy to remember. Mars, very warlike planet within Aries, a very dominant, a very upfront, competitive, and challenging sign. So that combination gives you the Two of Wands for our first minor. Our second minor is going to be the Three of Wands, which is the Sun. Now, when you get the sun, the star, the sun, into something like Aries, when you put Sun in any sign, it's basically going to bring out the best of that sign, or it's going to bring out the natural fulfillment of that sign. It's like the sun shining down onto a flower, and the flower just blossoms. It shows all of its traits all at once. The good, the bad, it just shows the very best of what that sign has to offer. So now that we have the sun within there, we have this sort of this peaceful manifestation of Aries. We have, again, that dominance, that being number one, that challenging, that competitiveness. And you sort of see this again by looking out. So we have two cards now to where we're just sort of looking out into the distance. So the first one is going to be the blank. As you can see, it's blank with just white, and that is the dominance based upon warring and warlike type behaviors. And here we have this warm glow letting you know that the sun is in Aries for the Three of Wands. So now we have Aries coming out. We have that competitiveness, that challenge, that all of that stuff, that being in charge, being a leader. And we have this very forceful, very dominant type leader, just sort of looking out across the lands, and looks like little ships within the glowing sunny sea, right? You have that sunlight, maybe the sun is setting, on the other side of him, and that's why the water is like yellow. But you have that glowing type feel with the sun in Aries, and the personality traits coming out. The being number one, trying to hold his attention span, being very dominant, being competitive and challenging as well. So this is established strength. Again, the sun is a cooling, relaxing type feeling that you have manifested within the sign of Aries, and that is the Three of Wands. So the next card is going to be the Four of Wands, and the Four of Wands talks about the apparent perfection as far as the kingdom within tarot. So right here we have Venus. Now Venus is a very loving, very gentle, very caring planet, and this planet is one of those sort of nurturing, caring type things, and we have that within the dominant sign of Aries. So you have this nurturing, caring leadership, right? So this is a lot of times remarked as the home card. Many cards will have it as a house, or the sticks forming sort of a house and things like that. So we have this positive outlook and this positive feel of the card, because we're no longer in that dominant, very conquest type planet within Aries. Now we have a loving, a nurturing, a soothing Venus type planet within that space. Now also know that Venus also stands for many times for money. So that's, if you want to know about money, Venus is going to be your first planet you go with. The next planet is going to be Jupiter, much less Venus is the primary one for money. So we have that sort of that monetary feel, or that domestic type, money, possessions type feel, and you get a feeling of that with a lot of these home cards as well. So we have the Venus dominance, caring, loving type traits manifested within the leadership, manifested within these challenges and things like that. So we've accepted the good side of Venus, and we've thrown together that and manifested that as well within the context of Aries. So Venus in Aries. So the next thing we have are court cards. Now, before we dive into court cards, be aware that every site disagrees as per what sign or what planet, etc., are going to be on the court cards. So some say that the Queen of Wands is Aries. Another one said that the King of Pentacles was Aries. These cards say the Queen of Wands and the King of Wands are Aries. So they all disagree. So we're going to go with what the cards say, just to be consistent to the Kingdom Within deck. So we're going to start here at the Queen of Wands. Now again, Aries being that sort of individual, being that independent, being the, I'm number one, I'm competitive, I like a challenge, but you can't hold my attention for a very long period of time. But we have this water type feel, or this water type feeling going within Aries for the Queen. So this is more of a gentle Aries. This is a leadership, but not quite a harsh leadership, or not quite a big hero type leadership. You get more of that inside the King of Wands. So the Queen of Wands is going to be the gentle side of Aries. Going to be dominant, sure. Going to be independent, sure. And it's going to have the good part of Aries sort of manifested within the King and Queen. So the Queen especially has a more of a gentle side, more positive, more of an outreach type feel. And then you get to the King of Wands. Again, some say the King of Pentacles should be here. Others say all the wands should be here. Others say the page should not be here, the knight should not be here, etc., etc. We're going with what the cards say, just for consistency with the video. So the King of Wands is going to be more of a forceful but independence, but used in a healing aspect type feel. So again, we have the two sides of Aries, the two types of manifestations. One is more of a fire manifestation, as you can see here. One is more of a watery type manifestation, as you can see here, sort of an earthy feel, earthy, watery, emotional stability. But again, here we have the King of Wands being that as well. So that is the manifestations of the Aries star sign. Let's talk about Taurus. We've seen Taurus before. Taurus is people born between April 21st and May 21st. It is the earth element, and this earth sign is practical, determined, ambitious, and very materialistic. So very reliable. If you want a boss who's going to show up and a boss who's going to handle the paperwork and all this other stuff, a Taurus is going to do you good. Maybe Capricorn as well, hey. But a Taurus is going to be stable. They're going to show up on time. They're going to be reliable. And you have that already, as we saw with the Hierophant. So that is Taurus. Now we have some manifestations of Taurus. The first one is going to be the Five of Pentacles. Now, we have Mercury. We've talked about Mercury before. Mercury is communication. Mercury is learning. Mercury is getting your point across, getting into the books, getting into the learning type things. And we have that sort of that learning, that mercurial type thing, the communications, the learning within this stability. And combined, we have sort of this financial troubles. In other words, we have the materialistic, and then we have the mercurial aspects sort of thrown into that, making sort of this financial trouble mixture, or this maybe not the best time type thing. As well as the 5 is just a bad number. So the 5 being a bad number sort of brings out this poor manifestation of that. Normally you would say, hey, I'm mixing communication and learning with a stable sign. That would mean I'm learning, maybe getting certifications at work or something like that. But the problem is it's a 5. And once you mix that 5 in here, you get the negative manifestation of that. So the negative manifestation of that is going to be financial troubles, and the financial troubles mainly from the 5, sort of just bringing everything into a fight, or bringing everything into a negative manifestation of Mercury again within Taurus, and that is the 5. So now we move on to the 6. The 6 is going to be a much better number, as you can see from here. So now we have the 6 of Pentacles, which is going to be the moon within Taurus. Now the moon brings about the feminine aspects. It brings about the collective subconscious, or the collective unconscious, maybe our intuition. The moon brings about all of those things. And you put that within the concept, or within the sign of Taurus, that stability, that, you know, maybe a bit stubborn, that very earthy sign, determined, stoic, practical feel, and you have success. Basically, you have more than you need. You have a balance that's going to be in our favor. Maybe we're Jeff Bezos and we have quite a bit of money to spare, and we're sort of giving it out. So that points to prosperity. The moon is giving us this positive outlook. The moon is giving this loving, nice outlook, this sort of this feminine, caring, nurturing, giving aspect into our already sort of prosperous Taurus sign, and the moon is giving us all of this prosperity. So we have good news that the moon is here. I really wish they would put a moon, I guess, in here somewhere, but we have this moon feel in here within that, and that is giving us this positive prosperity that we have a little more maybe than we need, and we're able to share that with everyone else. Now also we have the 7 of Pentacles, which is Saturn inside of Taurus. Now Saturn is a planet that separates. So if we get a planet that brings together, like maybe Venus brings together and have that feel, Saturn separates or pulls apart. So Saturn is traditionally a negative planet, and once you have that negative planet sort of sitting within that Taurus, sitting within that you know, that ambitious, that determined, materialistic, it sort of goes sour. It's almost like we have the materials that we need, or we have the possessions that we need, but we're just not content with what we have. The Saturn has soured our view. The Saturn has pulled apart our satisfaction with our success. And now we have the success, and everything is indeed successful, but it just doesn't have that good feel anymore. It doesn't have that good feel at all. So we have that being sort of a manifestation of Taurus, but Saturn is laid down right dead center of our sign, and now we have just this overall bad connotation of it, and just something that is not going to be very nice to us at all. Never good when Saturn just sort of lands. So the next thing we're going to have is the Page of Pentacles, and again, you know, we're doing courts, but I'm telling you, they're all, every book, every side disagrees. But for this Page of Pentacles, we have the manifestation of true Taurus. So here we have Taurus and the Page of Pentacles. So just the pure manifestation of Taurus, think about it maybe as like the sun or a positive outlook of Taurus. And he's sort of looking upon what he has received. He is that ambitious, he is that determined Taurus, that stable earthy sign, and he's gotten a small piece of his reward. Now it is the page, so the page is not a full king or anything like that. So he has maybe earned his first reward for being stoic, his first reward for that ambition, his first reward for being that determined, stable, earthy individual. And now he's just content with it, and he's just overall all happy with what he has earned and his place in the world at this point. So he looks very satisfied. He's holding up what he has earned, and overall it's just a good feel for having Taurus within the Page of Pentacles. And a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Patreon is a place where you can support my effort to make these videos. It helps pay for the software that I'm using to make the videos, so I can make more of them and train you in things like Lenormand and Thoth and astrology and all sorts of fun things that you see on the channel. If you would like to donate and support me, you get early access to videos, and we have behind the scenes videos as well. So a lot of cool stuff on the channel. So keep an eye out for that, and link in the description and on screen. Even if you don't support me, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe. That always helps me bring in new people and helps me get in the recommendation section of YouTube. And that way people can find me and find us, and we can have a great community of a bunch of people learning different things and discussing and things like that. So thank you so much for watching.